The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Connect podcast, connecting business to the community. I'm here today with my co-host, Blake Pollino with VP Media Group.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks again for tuning in this week. This week on the show, we have Che'ke Yates with Lockheed Martin here in Lufkin, here to talk about this awesome organization, all of the jobs that they provide for people in our community, and the opportunities that they have going forward. Super insightful episode. Let's get into that now.
Che'ke, we're excited to have you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about your background, and then we'll talk about Lockheed Martin and all that you do at Lockheed Martin.
Okay, well, so my background, that's a broad category, right? I'm originally from East Tennessee, a very small town about the size of maybe Apple Springs.
Okay.
So just for relatability, and grew up there in East Tennessee and really had no idea what I wanted to do with my life other than I knew I could be a teacher. That didn't seem appealing to me. I knew nursing was an option, also really not my thing. And so I was kind of floundering. And I'll share this story because I often do that. In 7th grade, a junior achievement volunteer came to our classroom, and they were doing the normal 7th grade curriculum, teaching us how to balance a checkbook and talking about those things. But it just came out in the course of his time in our classroom that he was an engineer for, at the time, Eastman Chemical Company, which had a location nearby. And just really was fascinated by this man and, what engineers do, because before that, I really had no idea. I didn't know anybody in my normal life who had that as a job. And so it really inspired me to pursue that as a path. And then as the course of things went on, and I graduated from college with my manufacturing engineering degree, I really had no desire to work for an aerospace company because I had interned with one. And I thought, well, there's a lot of rules, and that does not seem like me. But I got the opportunity at Lockheed, and I was like, I'll do it for a few years and we'll see how it goes. And then 21 years later, Here I sit,
there you are,
representing Lockheed and the people who work at the Lufkin facility with you guys. So it's been a great blessing in my life and a great honor to be here and represent the company. And, Lockheed was just named yesterday, or I found out yesterday, one of the 100 most influential companies in Time magazine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so just to be associated with Lockheed Martin is really an honor, and then the people here are great, and feel like I have a really good relationship with almost all of them, and I feel like a lot of what I do is to represent them and to make sure that they are represented well within the community. So I take that as a very heavy burden sometimes.
Absolutely. Isn't that great through junior achievement? I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great testimonial.
It is. That's a great organization.
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
Part of the reason why I, have such a passion for getting people interested in manufacturing and engineering, people I've had through career days at my son's school and that kind of thing, had young ladies come up to me and say, I didn't know girls could do your job.
That's right.
I love that.
So it's fascinating to me that I have the opportunity to pay that forward just a little bit and say, yeah, you do, and here are all the cool things that are involved in getting there along the way. So, we were told growing up, and I'm old, so just take this with a grain of salt, that girls aren't as good at math, girls aren't as good at building and that kind of thing.
You're
and
still told that.
Absolutely.
I have a 9-year-old. She's still told that.
Yeah, and that's just not true. I mean, you can be good at anything you're interested in, and I just want that message to get out.
That's right.
And-
That's great.
And y'all do such a great job of that. And tell us a little bit about Lockheed Martin. I think so I had lived in Lufkin, my entire life, and knew that it was here and knew generally what it was. I think everybody kind of has a bit misconception that you guys are just building bombs over there and stuff.
Yeah, we don't build bombs at all.
Don't build bombs at all. So I had the honor of being in the Leadership Lufkin class with Che'ke this last year, and got to know her through the program, and it's interesting. So like we did the leadership retreat, right? And we're all hanging out, and you're kind of making these snap judgments about who everybody is and who everyone isn't, or what everyone's roles are, and you kind of put everybody in their little pockets, right, of who you think they are and what their role is. And I remember so many people in the class just having these revelations about you as we went through, about how awesome it is what you do. And it really solidified when we got to tour the facility. So we get to come in, and it was such a stressful day for you, I know, to have so many people, and there's security clearance and all that kind of stuff that goes through it. But we were walking through and we were like, this is a way bigger deal than people realize. An amazing facility, tons of people that are working there that you lead. And I walked out of it, and I told somebody, I said, if you had asked me what facility in the area has the most microscopes, I would have never guessed it was here. But I mean, there's some really, really cool technology and things that you're doing. So tell people a little bit about Lockheed Martin as it pertains to Lufkin.
So in Lufkin, what we do is really build a lot of electronics components. So circuit card assemblies, which for people who aren't in the business, that's really the little boards that you see inside your TV or your smartphone. We do those for guidance systems. We build missile pieces here. We don't final assemble missiles, and no bombs, no explosives whatsoever in our facility. But we do a lot of circuit card assemblies, a lot of wire harness assemblies, so they can be teeny tiny wires, which you look at under a microscope, up to big wire harness bundles that you can't get your fingers around. And then we build launcher systems for some of our programs, some of our Lockheed Martin programs. And those are just really big boxes. But if you see a rocket launcher on a movie or on TV, it's a whole big truck assembly. And so those are the brains, so to speak, of the
You tell the missile and the
system.
bomb where to go.
We do. And so a lot of people, another misconception is, that our missiles are the kind of missiles that, destroy cities. In fact, we have very intelligent missiles that we primarily build here in Lufkin that are missiles that intercept. Right. So if somebody's trying to shoot us and destroy one of our cities, whether it's internal to the atmosphere or external to the atmosphere, we build missiles that find that missile and destroy it before it can do that.
Amazing.
So for the most part, they're making missiles that are fired at other missiles, which is awesome. And
it's a bullet hitting another bullet midair and diffusing a situation.
I was like a kid at a candy shop, so I'm a nerd. Like I love the engineering. If I could go back and do it all again, I would go into engineering. They broke us into groups to kind of go and tour the facility, and Jennifer Stover, who I think you, the two of you, are probably tied as the most interesting person in our class by far.
I don't think I can live up to that, but
she's kind of Indiana Jones. We need to have her on the podcast one day.
Absolutely.
But in my opinion, you guys are both there. Her and I ended up being in the same group, and they almost had to drag us out of there. I mean, it was we were way behind our pace for where everyone was supposed to go, because we had so many questions and we wanted to see all that. We wanted to see it go from like start to finish and some of the processes, and I was blown away at what is happening scientifically. I mean, this is some advanced engineering that's happening, and you're providing advanced engineering jobs for people in Lufkin. So tell us about that. How many people are there?
So there's about 500 people in our facility, give or take a few, depending on the week. About 40% of those are assemblers, so the people who actually put things together, and about 60% are support. So when I say support, a lot of those are manufacturing engineers, quality engineers, HR, finance. So you don't have to be an engineer to work at Lockheed. You don't have to be a technical person to work at Lockheed. But certainly, if you have an interest in that, we want to know who you are, because we want that talent pipeline to continue. How this facility got in Lufkin, and I'm not sure if you guys know the story, is Charlie Wilson brought it here as an opportunity for people to have gainful employment outside of, the normal industry that was here at the time, logging and paper mill at the time, those kinds of things. And so I really want that legacy to continue. I want Charlie's vision to continue long into the future and to grow if possible. I take that responsibility very seriously, and so I'm making every effort through Deep East Texas Manufacturing Alliance and other activities that I'm involved in to grow an interest, especially at the middle school level, because, we all know that now kids have to decide what they want to do when they grow up before ninth grade because they're going into an early college high school program.
Which
crazy.
is a whole crazy conversation we've had.
It's a whole nother podcast.
Multiple times. But,
So that is my passion, really, just to make sure that people know what we do and the opportunities that are here, because like most people, I wanted to stay close to home. Where I grew up, and whenever I was out of college, there weren't opportunities for me there. So I want to make sure, one, those opportunities remain here, and two, that people understand that they're here and have a path to get there through their career.
That's awesome. I love that.
Tell me, when you wake up every day, like what motivates you to be the best that you can be?
I think just knowing how many people came before me in this attempt to make things better in the manufacturing world and in rural East Texas is really the thing that gets me excited and jazzed about my day. But knowing that I was given this responsibility for a reason is what makes me get up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because I've spent my entire life wondering what my special talent is. I'm not a singer. I'm not a dancer. I don't know how to play any instruments. But my talent really is loving people, and that's what leadership is.
100%.
Loving them enough to invest in them when they're not doing well, and loving them enough to bring them along with you when they are.
That's right.
And so I feel like that's my special talent, and so I want to use that gift every day.
We need to get you in to talk to the kids so that they can see you. I mean, I would love to have Annalie come and visit with you. My niece is also an engineer, and my brother's an engineer, so she's around that. But to see what the possibility of happening, is going on in Lufkin, Texas, to kids at an early age, we need to see what we can do to help make that happen, where you're talking to kids.
If you look at the statistics, the jobs that are in Lufkin are really heavily geared towards the service industry, but the research shows that without manufacturing jobs, there's no healthy middle class.
Exactly right.
And so we want to make sure that we continue to build the middle class here in Lufkin and give people an opportunity so that those service jobs can continue to exist as well.
Yeah, and we want them to stay in Lufkin. We get them trained
Absolutely.
here. We want them to stay here.
Absolutely. And they're great schools here. SFA has they recently accredited their mechanical and electrical engineering programs. They have an engineering physics program. Angelina College, as you know, has tons and tons of certification programs, but as well as articulation agreements with SFA and other schools. So I want to make sure that not just the children who are exposed, but the children who have never been exposed
right.
hear that. And so any opportunity for that, I'm all in.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I love when we can shine a light on something in our community that debunks a misconception, right? So for years, we've always had this, we need manufacturing jobs in Lufkin, especially after, some of the things that have happened historically in Lufkin with manufacturing. And when we can shine a light on it and say, here it is, like if you're somebody who employs 500 people in a manufacturing, plus in a manufacturing facility
Right.
that are high skill jobs in a lot of places. I love being able to do that. People, we hear that a lot where it's just like, there are no jobs here. And I can cut this next part out if I need to, but I would imagine that you don't have a hard time hiring. I know a lot of people are struggling with it, but do you have a surplus of people who are looking to work at Lockheed?
I do not.
Right? So you're looking for people constantly.
Always looking for people, and always looking for people who want to stay.
Yeah.
So we do have to. We're forced to hire a lot of people from not Lufkin, not East Texas.
Interesting.
Because people, are coming from different schools, sometimes in Florida, Louisiana, and then they come to Lufkin and they don't know the area, and
Right.
there's no, we hear a lot about, we wish we had a Whole Foods in Lufkin, or wish we had this, and without those manufacturing jobs, those places aren't coming, right?
Exactly.
But we really want those people that come here from externally, or especially the people who live here and want to stay here,
Right.
to have an opportunity to stay here. And we lose a lot of our talent to the bigger cities, Dallas, Orlando for Lockheed Martin specifically, but even Austin or Houston for not people that are staying within Lockheed Martin. And so yes, we absolutely are looking for talent. We are making every effort to build that talent pipeline here so that we do have those people who have roots here and want to stay here and can contribute to building this community into what it has always been in the future.
Yeah, I love that that's an option for people now.
Yeah.
So as students who are interested in engineering and mechanical engineering and these skilled positions, you can start here in Lufkin. You can get educated here in this area, and then you can go
That's
join
right.
a workforce at a great company. Like, that's
Absolutely.
great that we have that pipeline available, because it's getting popular. Like with this younger generation, my son, there's a YouTube channel. There's a guy named Mark Rober. You guys have seen him, I'm sure. He's a former NASA engineer, and he's one of the most popular YouTubers in the world. And like, my kids are addicted to watching their engineering videos. That's what he is. That's
Yeah,
all
and
he's
they don't
doing.
even realize
Yeah,
it.
like this
Yeah.
is engineering that they're teaching, and I grew up on stuff like that. And so to see a pipeline that's available now for people,
Yeah,
we want people to be able to know about that, and hopefully this podcast will help for people to hear about that.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
why Lufkin? What makes that so special?
Well, so I really loved Lufkin for the people and for the fact that it's a community. You know, people care about each other. They come together whenever there's something that's not pleasant, and
That's right.
they help each other get through that. And I really am a big family person, and community is just an extension of, community is just an extension of family. And so when I look at Lufkin as an only child who has lost both parents and doesn't have any siblings, I feel like Lufkin is really my family, my extended family, and I love the opportunities that I have here, and I relish the opportunity to build relationships with people here. So
I love that.
Well, we love you being here,
Thank
and we
you.
love that a woman is running Lockheed Martin here. I have to say that I love that.
I do too.
It's so empowering, and it's just a great testament to what happened to you in 7th grade, and this
Absolutely.
vision that was cast for you.
Yeah.
And the opportunities that God had available for you. So that's
Absolutely.
fantastic, Che'ke.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for
We really
having me.
appreciate it. It's a great little backstory of what we've got in Lufkin.
Yeah.
And
Thank
man, we're doing some cool stuff.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
That's
I
great.
love that. Well, where can people find you? So if someone is looking for employment, if they're interested in being in this field, where do they go? Where do they reach out? You can't just walk in and knock on the front door. So where do
You cannot, and please don't try.
Please don't try. Yeah,
So I would say if you're looking for an assembly job, which is, the optimal way to enter the field, if you haven't already gone to the trouble of getting an engineering degree, you want to start at Express Temporary Services. We hire through there. That gives us an opportunity to kind of try you out and try us out for a period of 3 to 12 months to see how the job fits you and you are fit for our organization, because we do want to continue to have that family feel, right? And not every person fits in every family.
Sure.
So that's the first step for people who are looking for that path. And then if you are an engineer or an HR professional or a finance professional or a security professional, you're going to want to check out LockheedMartin.com and go to the career site and look. You can search there for jobs available in Lufkin. And if that doesn't pan out, then get to know your neighbors, because a lot of them work for Lockheed Martin.
right.
They do.
And they will tell you, I know somebody who I can get your resume to. So if you have a resume and you want it inside Lockheed Martin, there's not a job posted currently, then I would just say get to know your neighbors, and they will get that resume to the right people when we have an opportunity.
That's great.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
it's great
you.
to see you, and
Great to
glad
see you
that you
both.
came on the podcast. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. We appreciate your support. If you want to watch the video version of this podcast, if you want to see our faces and watch how we talk to each other, you can watch that on the Chamber's YouTube channel and on the Chamber Facebook page. If you'll do us a huge favor and rate and review the podcast wherever you're listening, just helps other people in our area find out about this show if they're interested in it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.